Thank you for joining me here on the show to go over the last segment on today's episode and of the week. Still continuing on from the last segment, talking about players ranked 20 through 11. Now we're going to get into the much anticipated top 10 of the NFL Network's top 100 player rankings. I have the players in front of me, and to be honest with you guys, I thought this morning when I was going through this segment, I had all the players exactly of who was going to make this list. And then I saw a post by the NFL and saw that I missed it by one guy. And if it is true, and if I missed it by one guy, then I'm extremely surprised that this one player did not make the top 10. I thought it was a little questionable that he made the top 10, but the fact that he's not even in the top 10 and not even potentially on this list could be even crazier and mind-blowing to me. But I won't keep teasing you guys with who this player is. We're going to go through it and go through the explanations and whatnot on everything that I have for this top 10 of the top 100 player rankings. So we're going to go through it starting off with the 10 through 6 that I have here. So before I go through these guys and explain why I have them here, the players that should be in the top 10, according to what I saw on Instagram, should be these guys that you see here. And I just realized that if I give out the other names, it's going to give out the other half of the list. So I'm not going to go through the players. We're going to go through these guys on the screen. Starting off with Max Crosby. At number 10, that player that I thought would have been on this list was going to be Denzel Ward. And I went through the rest of the top 100 list, and I could have missed it. I could have made a mistake and missed them earlier on. But I went through it, and I swear I did not see his name anywhere else on this list. So I thought he was going to be originally the 10th ranked player in this list. But also, when I thought that, I thought, wait a second, like Max Crosby's not on this list. Where's he going to fit in? Where is he going to fit in? Are they going to leave Max Crosby off of the list? So then when I saw that Instagram post, I saw the players that were going to be ranked in the top 10, and Max Crosby was the one on the list. So I'm guessing Denzel Ward is off this list. He didn't make the top 100. Again, unless I missed it, but I swear I didn't see his name anywhere else. That's pretty crazy to me, talking about Denzel Ward, because in the ESPN rankings, reacting to the top 10 corners, he was the second ranked corner on that list. And in this top 10, I also realized that Pat Surtain wasn't in here. And then I went back through the list and I saw his name in the 50s. So if he's the quote-unquote best-ranked defensive back in the NFL, and he's at 50, I guess it makes sense that Denzel is not on the list, but that's what really confused me when I was making this list. But now, going into the rankings on these guys who should all be in the top 10, starting with Max Crosby, he was a guy that I was surprised originally that I thought wasn't going to be on the list, but then when I saw the post, he definitely should be somewhere in this list. And to be the top 10, according to me, where I would have him ranked, it is deserved. I think he is one of the players that consistently at edge rusher, he is almost the total embodiment of what the Las Vegas Raiders are. I think he fits exactly what Antonio Pierce is as a head coach and what sort of attitude they want to carry. So to be at number 10, a little surprising to me just because we just finished talking about Josh Allen potentially being in there. Denzel Ward could have made a case for it also. Pat Surtain as well. For Max Crosby to be on here, honestly, the rest of the rankings could have been, changed to where all those guys should have been on the list. So, regardless of that, I think Max definitely deserved the spot on this list. Had one of his best years this past season. One of the leaders of this team. I'm pretty sure he got a contract extension as well. For him to be ranked this high, and you see some of the other guys, Chris Jones and Myles Garrett, it shows the value of the edge rushers now in the NFL. So for three of these guys to be already in the top 10, I think it's no mistake about it. And for him to start off the list, I don't really have too much of a problem with it. I was just a bit confused on who was going to be left off of this list. But then you go to number 9, according to myself, Trent Williams makes the top 10 for me. Last year, he was 14, so it is a pretty significant jump. Constantly regarded as one of the best overall tackles in the NFL, and definitely could say the best left tackle in the NFL. So it's a big upgrade from season to season. He didn't give up a sack last year. And again, there's no way that he wasn't going to be on the list after all. So for him to be in this top 10, I put him at number 9 just because he is the best at his position, but we're still talking about a tackle. I can't put him over some of the other guys on this list, even if he is extremely great, almost perfect at what he does. The positions, again, is what matters, so he'll be my number 9. And then at number 8, it kind of has something to do with number 7, but I'll talk about that when I get to Chris Jones. Travis Kelce at number 8, to me, it was a down year in 2023 by his standards, not by everybody else's, because in 2023, it was the first time in the last 7 years that Travis Kelce didn't record a 1,000-yard season. So, again, his struggles kind of played off of the other players' struggles on offense. The Chiefs' offense, I think for the first time in a long time, looked pretty stagnant and pretty frustrating in 2023, and Travis, again, was another player that looked frustrated by how they were performing on that side of the ball. The talent level wasn't really where we were accustomed to seeing it, and I think Travis suffered again by his standards. He still recorded, I think, like 920 yards, so he didn't miss the mark by too much, but overall, it was a worse year by his standards. I think last year he was number 5, so to be number 8, I don't think that's too big of a problem. I had to fit him in there based on what I said of Chris Jones. And Chris Jones, he was ranked number 10 last year, and after I saw that Instagram post of who the players were going to be in the top 10, I saw a video of Chris Jones talking to the people of NFL Network, kind of trying to get a hint of where he was going to be ranked, and he basically said that he was going to be in the top 7. So off of that, I had to put him here. He could be higher. I wouldn't be surprised if he's higher, but in my rankings, where I see it fit, I have him at number 7. He's at least going to be the 7th ranked player on this list, if not higher. But again, he deserves to be in the top 10. Another player that's regarded as the best in his position. With Aaron Donald retired now especially, there's not too many that compare to Chris Jones and his production. And right away, the play that jumps out to me is in the Super Bowl. Maybe he doesn't put up 15, 17 sack seasons from his position. That's almost impossible to do. But in the biggest moments, sort of like Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl, Chris Jones had his Super Bowl moment this year when it was that critical third down with the 49ers in the red zone, and it looked like Brock Purdy had a clear passing lane to, I think it was Deebo Samuel or Juwan Jennings in the end zone to take the lead, but it was Chris Jones who was beelining through the middle of that offensive line, got in Brock Purdy's face, made him throw it away, and it saved the game for the Chiefs. Obviously, the 49ers went on to kick the field goal, they tie it up, they go into overtime, and the Chiefs end up winning it, in major part for Chris Jones, and always seeming to step up in the biggest moments. So there's no doubt he should be a top 10 player. I had him at number 7 just based on the rest of this list. Then we get to number 6, talking about the defensive player of the year, Mr. Myles Garrett. Again, another player consistently considered the best of his position. I don't think he's the best, and that's why I have him at number 6. He won the defensive player of the year, but again, he's just a physical, he's a freak. He's a guy that just intimidates you just by looking at him, being an opposing offensive tackle. He is the main stage of that Browns defense, constantly a nuisance, constantly making his presence felt on that side of the ball, creating havoc, a menace in the running game, in the passing game as well. You can't hold on to the ball too long because of him and his presence, constantly creating quarterback pressures and things like that. He should be a top 10 player. Just in my opinion, I don't have him ranked ahead of the number 5th ranked player. In my opinion, TJ Watt. To me, the best pass rusher in the NFL, the best at his position. I saw in those ESPN rankings that an executive or a coach or whoever it was said that he was the Aaron Donald of edge rushers, and might be a little crazy. I don't think that's too far off, honestly, because TJ, if you watch Steelers games and you watch how much he actually means, not only to the defensive side of the ball, but overall as a player on this team, the Steelers' record with and without TJ Watt is an absolute joke. It's a joke of how how much he impacts winning. And just on top of that, people compare him to Myles Garrett, the Defensive Player of the Year, going to Myles Garrett this year. Just what I would say to that, statistically, based on production, you look at Myles and you look at TJ. TJ surpasses Myles Garrett in total tackles, solo tackles, sacks, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, interceptions, all in 2023 and in both of their careers. So, again, TJ has the production to back it up. He almost broke the NFL sack record that one year. He's coming off of, not this year, but the year before that, off of a injured-riddled season. But to me, he should be ranked in the top 5 with how impactful he is to winning. And then the rest of this list, Tyreek Hill at number 4. A historic season in 2023, led the NFL in almost every statistical category for receivers. Major part to what the Dolphins do on offense, and also how good Tua Tagovailoa was this year. So for him to be a top 4 player, again, it kind of goes with the pattern of the NFL being an offensive-based league, and that's why the top 4 are all offensive-based players. Off after Tyreek Hill. Same thing with Christian McCaffrey. Pretty much led all running backs in every statistical category. When people think of the prototypical running back, they go straight to Christian McCaffrey. Doesn't really deal with injuries too much. That could be the only thing you point to, honestly, but that's not even a big problem. He catches the ball well, runs it great. He does everything for this 49ers team as if they honestly needed him, but he just makes them an absolute nightmare to deal with. So I have him at number 3. Arguably could have won MVP, but they're never going to give it to anybody but a quarterback, so I have to put him at number 3. Then at number 2, we have the MVP of the regular season, Lamar Jackson. I felt that he improved over last year, took a better step in the passing department, while everybody still thinks he's only a running quarterback. That's what he does best, but as a passer, I thought he improved a lot. He's got some more weapons around him, so that should benefit him to continue to grow even more. Finally, got some success in the playoffs, made it to the conference championship. So, based on what he does, such a unique skill set for the quarterback position, arguably the best running quarterback in NFL history. I had to put him at number 2, and at number 1, it's Patrick Mahomes, obviously. No real explanation for it. I don't think I really need to. Won the Super Bowl MVP. Just steps up in the biggest moments. It's basically Patrick Mahomes. I don't think it's any surprise on who number 1 was going to be. There was some doubt that it could be Lamar just because he won the MVP. And he is just spectacular when you watch him play. But I think the safe bet is Patrick. I think they're going to give it to Patrick again for a second consecutive year. But those are my predictions on how I would rank it and what I kind of think it's going to be like when the NFL Network officially announces it in about 20 minutes. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I get a bunch of these correct. That would be super cool. But leave your guys' thoughts on my rankings, on my predictions of the NFL Top 100. But that'll do it for today's show. I want to thank you guys for staying to the end of this episode, and I'd like to please remind you guys to like, follow, and subscribe to the show, as well as following the network on all forms of social media. If you want to see more of this show, more of the content around this show, check out both YouTube channels for YouTube Shorts, all the live shows, and individual segment videos. And as a final reminder, tune in every weekday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for more football content, NFL discussions in this great league with me, Manny Maradiaga, as your host, signing off for this week. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys back here on Monday.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to